Strangely, despite everything, there were no casualties in Li Jian's building. Everyone was alive and working. Curious about how this was possible, Zhang Yi went to Li Jian to ask how he managed to keep everyone alive and cooperating. The protagonist was insinuating that he was doing something to hide the truth. All the blocks were internally at war over food. Li Jian's response was simple. He said he hadn't hidden anything from his people, let them all know about the deal, and distributed the little food they received equally. Zhang Yi joked that the result of this was everyone starving equally, satisfied with knowing. He was about to leave, but Li Jian asked him to wait. He said that Zhang Yi could help his residents. Zhang Yi then suggested that with Li Jian's leadership skills, he could choose only the strongest from his group and have more food. Instead, Li Jian preferred to maintain his honesty and try to protect everyone. In the end, they would all starve together. He left poor Li Jian alone with doubts about whether it was right to think of oneself and abandon others to stay alive. Zhang Yi went to the two corrupt leaders who had no complaints about the food they were receiving. He told them that if they needed anything, they could ask him. In his shadow, one could see who our protagonist truly was. He sympathized with those taking advantage of others and belittled those trying to help everyone and be honest. Other building leaders approached the protagonist later, asking to have the benefits that Wang Qian and Tianfang had, only cigarettes. Everyone who was doing well with the little food that was coming wanted to have something to smoke too. He said that from tomorrow, everyone would be under his care too, and dismissed the men. Other neighbors questioned Zhang Yi, asking why they felt entitled to ask for more things. The protagonist left, saying that certain people could earn more than others, planting a sense of jealousy among the other residents too. Returning home, he lay on his sofa and said it was just a matter of time. Things were going as he had planned, and soon everyone would be lying in the snow like the others. Now he had to put the second part of his plan into action. Early the next day, he went in search of food. This time, he made sure to get plenty for everyone. With hunger spreading, he used the poison he had saved beforehand. The plan was going very well. Would the leaders not turn against him at some point? They shouldn't accept being dominated by one person. They must be plotting something. Although his absolute power of possessing various weapons made it impossible for them to go against him, Zhang Yi decided it was time to strike. Returning home with much more food than before, he asked his uncle Yu and the others to be there to protect him. This time, the leaders came to get their meals. The look of the leaders with whom he had more contact seemed strange. When it was the turn of Building 21, Zhang Yi turned his back to get the food and was surprised. They shouted to attack and drew their weapons. Shots rang out, and someone stepped forward to protect Zhang Yi. Caught off guard, it was the only person he trusted who stepped in front to save him from the shots. Soon, neighbors from other buildings approached to finish the job, confident that he was unarmed. One of them tried to hit him from behind. Not bothering to hide his skills, he simply pulled out a CS machine gun and started firing indiscriminately. No matter the absurd number of people, nothing could resist a nervous trigger finger. The group of traitors tried to run when they lost hope of toppling the protagonist, but even though many were running, they were all toppled with shots to the head. When the ammunition ran out, he pulled out 2 more pistols. Leaders Wang and Tianfang begged, saying they were not accomplices. However, forgiveness comes from God. The last one left was Chen Ling, and she said she really had nothing to do with it. And it might be true. She also revealed that she had a 13-year-old daughter to take care of. Without mercy, Zhang Yi shot her in the forehead. After taking down everyone, now perhaps with some real guilt, he said he was sorry, but he couldn't let the tigers return alive. Behind him, a sea of bodies. To the protagonist's surprise, someone was alive. Uncle Yu. He took an adrenaline injection from the warehouse, applying it to his chest. 2 people from Building 25 were hiding. He shouted for them to help, and they carried Uncle Yu to Zokir. On the way, Zilime saw her injured boyfriend and became worried. Why was he like this? What if he dies? How will she survive? The fact that the woman was only thinking about how she would lose her benefits made the protagonist angry, so much so that he told her to shut up and not worry. The woman's reaction changed. If old Yu doesn't survive, she won't be able to survive alone without protection. She says that if her love dies, he must take care of their child, because she will die too. Zhang Yi, not quite understanding why she was already jumping to conclusions that he won't survive. Does she perhaps want him not to survive? Zilime starts crying, screaming that no, her husband must live. Tired of hearing her, Zhang Yi goes after Uncle. In the woman's mind, Uncle Yu is her winning ticket to a good life, and she can't let him slip away. At the doorstep, he tells them all to go back to their homes, but the woman insists that her husband needs her by his side at this moment. Out of consideration for Uncle, who genuinely likes the woman, he thinks about it and lets her stay. As he opens the door to his house, the color of things even changes. The air is warm, and Zilime cries tears of joy. This is the place she has been dreaming of living in for so long. While Zhang Yi and Zokir bring Uncle inside, Zilime goes to the kitchen and helps herself to something to drink without asking permission, which surprises our couple. Soon the woman returns, all happy, asking if he has powdered milk, immediately arousing anger in Zhang Yi. She then says it's for the baby. Uncle Yu really likes the baby. The protagonist now makes it clear that the focus is on Uncle Yu. He goes to a different room in the house, stairs and retrieves a hospital stretcher from the dimensional warehouse. Zilimi wonders if she just witnessed him perform a magic trick, but he ignores her, asking Zokir if she needs any additional equipment or medicines, anything necessary to save Uncle. Zokir removes Uncle's shirt. The bullet's location indicates internal organ damage. In these medical conditions, saving Uncle seems impossible. Upon hearing Zilimi, he starts screaming and crying. Angry, he points at her, warning that if she interferes again, there will be serious consequences. She stops and says it's better for her to leave the room. In her mind, there's so much food and clean warm water here. Who would want to stay in this room just looking around? Realizing her intention, the protagonist steps in and makes it clear. She will stay here and help. She only entered because her presence is important to Uncle. She will only leave this room when Zokir is finished. He leaves the women at home and rushes down to the first floor of the building, calling all the residents. They've been betrayed, and Uncle Yu might not survive. Now they must strike. Most neighbors are against it. The other buildings house over 1,000 people, and they are few. Zhang Yi points out that they should only watch outside. Anyone leaving the buildings will be attacked, and the rest inside, hiding within the buildings, he will take care of. Those who do not participate will be considered traitors, facing consequences similar to the dead bodies outside. There are warm clothes here for them. Soon the group arrives at the door of Building 21. Residents on the upper floors realize that Zhang Yi is leading their residents. Some who knew Zhang Yi could wield weapons could only stand paralyzed with fear. Most only had melee weapons, and he could magically produce a machine gun and mow them all down. The brave ones are confident that they are safe in the building. Zhang Yi puts everyone to watch the exits and windows, and he enters Building 21. Arriving in the lobby, he gathers a bunch of wood and clothes from his storage dimension, places them in the lobby, and then pours gasoline over everything, connecting all the wood and clothes with trails of gasoline. He then lights his lighter and, being all witty, says he'll be kind and help them warm up in this extreme cold. He throws the lighter into the gasoline. The flames quickly spread through the lobby, and he calmly leaves the scene. Smoke billowed up the floors through the building stairs. Everyone on the upper floors felt terror, screaming to open the windows, or they would suffocate with the smoke. However, many in their homes found that the extreme cold had frozen the windows. Without tools, they couldn't break them. The protagonist calmly exited Building 21, pointing to the building behind him, now emitting smoke, and said, "The rest of you handle it now. Don't let anyone escape." As the flames grew, many couldn't bear the heat and chose to jump, landing in the snow below. Even if they didn't perish from burns, the fall shattered their spine. One woman had no pity for them as they crawled and caught fire. She simply buried her knife in them. Not even the men around her had such cold-bloodedness. The boyfriend, somewhat nervous, asked if she was okay. When the woman turned, she seemed like a sweet angel, saying that this was work. When anyone else fell and didn't die from the fall damage, she went there and helped the poor soul not suffer anymore. In a few minutes, the entire Building 21 was eliminated. Afterwards, Zhang Yi led his people to Building 26, led by Tianfang. The residents panicked upon seeing what happened to Building 21. When they arrived, the residents shouted that they were not supporting Tianfang and were innocent. Laughing, Zhang Yi said it didn't matter. They were all going to burn. A little while later, this building also met the same fate, and along with it, 5 other buildings were heated against the cold. His thought was that it was enough for one night. He told the residents of another building not to worry. He knew who the truly innocent ones were, and they would be fine. Some saw hope and were happy, but many others shouted that he must be tired after burning down 5 buildings. Ignoring the shouts, he gave the order that it was enough for today. After enduring the cold for so long, his people said they would stay outside and warm themselves by the fire. Even the fuel for the fire was from there. Then, he went to the bodies of the 2 who were most loyal to him. It didn't make sense for him to betray them, because they had always been treated well. Curious as to why he took their cell phones to investigate, looking at the conversations, he understood why. After dealing with the buildings involved in the rebellion, Zhang Yi returned home to see Uncle Yu. The steady rhythm of the heart rate monitor indicated that Uncle Yu was out of danger. He happily said that Zokir was indeed the best surgeon in the city. As they talked, Zilimi approached, asking for something for her and her baby to eat. Looking disdainfully, he took out a packet of instant noodles from nowhere and threw it on the ground, saying he wouldn't let her starve, of course. But the woman didn't leave it at that and said that wasn't enough. In the kitchen, she saw there were eggs and chicken. At that moment, Zhang Yi almost exploded with anger. Even Zokir was shocked by the woman's audacity. In the apocalypse, complaining about free food, the protagonist, irritated, said it was just instant noodles, or she wouldn't eat anything. After that, he left with his girlfriend. They returned to the room. The tired Zhang Yi began to massage her legs. It started there, and soon moved to her lips, then back to her legs. Zokir recounted that Uncle Yu's recovery was unusual. During the surgery, his wounds began to heal rapidly. Hearing this, Zhang Yi had a sudden epiphany. He concluded that during the supernova explosion, a gamma-ray wave passed through the Earth and must have given powers to people under some condition. It could be that Uncle Yu had awakened some ability, like his dimensional storage ability. Accepting that was the case, he wondered why only he and now Uncle Yu were the only ones to awaken an ability. His idea was that the near near-death state triggered it. He was dying at the hands of Fang Yuqing, and his power saved him, while Uncle Yu was dying from 3 shots, and his regeneration power saved him. Accepting that was the case, he told Zhou Qier to keep his uncle sedated from now on. He could only wake up at the right time.